So I think we should start today. This session is being recorded anyway, so we'll be sharing with you the session after the webinar. So welcome everybody to our first Connected TV webinar in India. I'm Adriana from the marketing team at Mediasmart, and I'll be moderating today's webinar. Our speaker will be Nikhil Kumar, but let me properly introduce him in a couple of minutes. Before I begin, I wanted to let you know that we have a Q&A section on the menu below. So if you want to ask any questions during the webinar, you can add them here and we'll answer them before wrapping up. So let me give you a quick summary of what Mediasmart is. We're a self-serve mobile programmatic platform, now part of the Apple Group, that provides advertisers, trading desks, and agencies an integrated mobile advertising solution with the unique capability of measuring incremental metrics in both proximity and marketing campaigns. Mediasmart empowers advertisers to efficiently invest in advertising through a transparent platform that links the physical world with the digital world across mobile devices and connected TVs, all while following a privacy by design approach to all solutions that we provide. So let me give you a little bit of context on why we're here today hosting this webinar about connected TV. So in the last couple of years, the video entertainment industry has exploded with the growth of connected TV and streaming devices, changing how content is viewed. With the COVID-19 pandemic, the shift towards the adoption of connected TV has further accelerated as people look online for easily accessible entertainment options. So what does it all mean for consumers in India? This is essentially what we're going to cover today on our webinar. And so without further ado, let me introduce you to our speaker, Nikhil Kumar, who is our Senior Director for Brand and Strategy in India and Southeast Asia at Mediasmart. With a career spanning over more than 14 years, Nikhil is a MarTech leader that has not only worked in the ad tech industry, but in others such as retail or consumer goods. And in 2019, he was awarded one of India's most innovative MarTech leaders. In today's webinar, Nikhil is going to bring you the key insights on how connected TV advertising and new age technologies like household sync can power up your ad campaigns. So over to you, Nikhil.
Thank you, Adriana, and thank you for the warm welcome, and thank you for the kind words. I welcome one and all to this webinar. I hope all of you folks are doing well. This is our first webinar for the year, and we are super excited. We are also very excited to have all of you and host all of you for a very exciting journey about connected TV, one of the most globally talked about trends, and Mediasmart being the first brand to actually host this for India for the first time. So excited and look forward. We would love to keep it conversational, put a lot of questions. We would try to take them, all of them, by the end of it, and look forward to your participation. So what's the content flow going to be like today? We'll try to keep it very simple. Our section 1 is going to be about the evolution of connected TV. Where did it start from? What are its roots? What are its origins? We're going to move out to a very interesting section about advertising and CTV advertising. I'm assuming most folks here are from marketing or media or related fields and would love to understand where this ecosystem is moving at. And now that we have understood where it started from, this is the past, where it is right now, which is the present, would love to talk about where this technology is going in future. And that's what the section 3 is going to be all about, from evolution from CTV to household sync. So let's start. And once again, welcome to the evolution of connected TV. Let's see where the origins and how it's rooted back. In early 2000 is when Apple started streaming devices with affordable cable subscription rates. By 2007, Netflix started streaming on TV, which really turned around the things. It really played the catalyst for what CTV and its growth is today. Other hardware equipments like Hulu and Roku really revolutionized the US market with connected devices ecosystem, converting their smart TVs into connected TVs. Between 10 to 15, US really, and globally in fact, started seeing a decline on DTH. The number of broadband users actually started to grow larger than what the cable subscriber base was. By the end of 2014, US was almost saying 100 million plus people who were actually watching digital videos via CTV. 2015 to 20 is when it's really started to take shape. The cord cutters were continuously on the rise. What gave rise to what we know today is the most popular term called OTT. Traditional players started introducing OTT apps to adhere to the rising demand of consumers and on-demand content. Whether it's the likes of Z, your Star TVs, realized on-demand content is where the users are. And if the users are there, we need to have multi ways to get to them, and started introducing OTT apps. If there is demand, there is monetization. The rise of monetization via OTT subscription models came into being during this phase. And if there are users are there, also came into existence the ad monetization, which was introduced via CTV. Brands globally started exploring shifting their traditional TV budgets to CTV TV advertising. And I think 2020, while was a dampener for everything else, it did not in any way stop the growth of CTV in the country. In 2020, in fact, global CTV advertising grew by 70% just in Q3. And by the end of last year, US TV plugged households were more than 200 million. It speaks volumes of where CTV is growing and what's been its past and what's its present. And I think as we go in 2021, most statistics tell us that the ad spends on CTV are poised to grow by 82%, almost doubling the spends that they had. So an interesting journey for CTV, but that gets us to understand what is CTV. In simple words, connected TV specifically refers to televisions that have access to internet connection and can load or stream digital content. This can include smart TVs where internet connection is built in, but it can also include standard TVs that are connected to the internet via smart devices. Now, what does the ecosystem of CTV consist of? The smart TV, you can buy a smart TV which has got internet directly connected to it, either via Wi-Fi or via LAN cable, and it can become a CTV ecosystem. The most popular internet connected devices for streaming, devices like your Google Chromecast, which popularized the revolution in the early part of the country, and now what we know as Amazon Fire Stick, easily connectable devices which can make and you can stream your best channels on internet on your television set. And also gaming consoles, which includes consoles like Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, and more that stream to a TV. How can your TV become a CTV? Now, doing that is not just an affordable, but also a very accessible medium. You can buy smart TVs, which are priced less than $200 or in INR foot less than 15,000 rupees. Thanks to the advent of multiple Chinese manufacturers, which have penetrated the country and have really gained significant market shares in the last 2 to 3 years. TV is no longer, or a smart TV is no longer a phenomena that is only for an upper segment of the society or in a tier 1, tier 2 metro phenomena. It's affordable, it's accessible. On the click of a button, you can actually order that TV, very accessible price, which will be delivered to your doorstep. And hence, the accessibility is absolutely become a wide factor in the adoption of CTV. Internet set-top boxes. Now, you might have seen recently, what are internet set-top boxes? These are recent phenomena introduced by the likes of Airtel Extreme or a Tata Sky Binge in an Indian context, which you might have seen in recent times advertising quite extensively, where you can actually set up your set-top box. And while you watch your live channels via internet, you can also stream through multiple applications via the same set-top box. And last but not the least, also available, the most accessible and most affordable, less than 3,000 rupees dongles, which not only, in fact, if I understand it correct, not only can you purchase a dongle at that price, you also sometimes get the 1-year subscription. So a fairly accessible and very affordable medium to actually convert your TV to become a CTV. It's important to also understand how different is CTV and OTT and MVPD. These are largely used terms which are sometimes interchangeably confused or used while discussing connected TVs. In simple words, connected TV, as explained earlier, any television set used to stream video over IP on a screen media platform. Most often video is streamed via apps downloaded from TV App Store. What is OTT? Over the top. A reference to streaming TV content because it's over the top and circumventing traditional means of video delivery, historically satellite, cable, telco, MVPD services. Now, a simple example to understand these two, which are most important. Let's say you have Z5. When you're consuming Z5 via an application, which is predominantly via either your mobile or maybe your iPad mini or any of your tablets, you are predominantly watching that application as an OTT. The same application, when viewed on your television or your smart TV on internet, is basically becoming a part of the CTV ecosystem. And that's the key differentiator, which should help us recall the core difference between the two. Multi-channel video programming distributor, also called VMVPD, is a service that provides television channels through internet without supplying its own data, transport, or infrastructure, which basically means you're watching your channels live, but you're not watching it via the cable television. You're actually watching your channels live via an internet subscription. Now, what does CTV provide, which makes it such a unique proposition? Incremental reach, more interactivity, and more time. Let's jump into each one of them and spend 2 minutes here, because it really sets the context for everyone else. CTV's exclusive audience makes it an ideal platform for extending the reach beyond linear TVs, especially in competitive day parts. In today's evolving world, audiences have more content choices than ever, on more screens than ever, forcing marketers to rethink where, when, and how they can reach their total addressable market. What CTV provides to you is an absolutely unique and absolutely incremental reach beyond your current media plans. To give you an example, in your media plans, you have, let's say, outdoor, print, television. Now you have another media silo, which is called CTV, and gives you an incremental reach to reach a new user, or maybe the same user via a new platform previously not penetrated at all, and hence an absolutely new incremental reach. More interactivity. Consumers are becoming increasingly spending more time on their CTVs watching their favorite content. Brands need to successfully cut through this content congestion, thereby increased focus on creative, engagement, and even conversions as we look at today. CTV provides you all of this. You do not need to serve a very stereotypical ad on a connected TV. You can make your ads engaging, you can make your ads interactive, you can make your ads do a lot more things. And this could go from connecting them with an SMS, or doing a QR code scanning to get the engagement, or most importantly, even household sync, which we'll talk about in the later part of our slides. Last but not the least, more time. CTV gives advertisers the ability to earn more of viewers' time, which increases brand awareness and opportunities for conversion. There's been a long-standing theory and school of thought, right? Attention spans are getting shorter. An average human has less than 8 seconds of attention span on mobile, less than a goldfish. But to be really honest, in recent studies suggest that in reality, they're actually just evolving. A recent survey said 55% of audiences really love watching a great story, and that keeps them engaged to their content. 49% of the same survey respondents said they have become more selective about what they want to watch. They want to be very selective in what they are seeing. And 33% of the same audience ecosystem survey said visual stimulation is critical for us. This is what is required for us to maintain our engagement. And what does CTV do? It actually addresses all three of them. You have a growth storytelling narrative to keep you hooked on. You can be absolutely selective on where you and what you want to watch. And last but not the least, you have visual stimulation on the CTV to keep you hooked on to that channel. And hence, these three factors predominantly precede any other in terms of importance. So what are the CTV opportunities for brands? Clearly, we talked about it earlier, a new age media for reaching users. Most often than not, people talk about incremental reach, people talk about unparalleled reach. What we need to understand is CTV is a new unique medium with its new unique user reach. And what it does provide for most media planners and marketers in the ecosystem is this new age media reach for reaching that particular user. Data accuracy and multi-attribute measurement on CTV. If it's digital, it comes with data, and with data comes accuracy. And in fact, with the CTV ecosystem, especially with our platform, you can go across 20 plus metrics, 26 plus metrics that you can evaluate post your campaign for seeing results. Co-viewing TV content and multi-screen audience reach. For the largest point of time, the conversation was brands, hey, we spend a large amount of television on television advertising. How do we get the same footprint at that user on his mobile screen? My digital budgets are different from my offline budgets. Well, here you go. CTV is the correct opportunity which sets a digital footprint of the users who are watching television. Now, they're technically watching television. It might not be traditional television, but footprint of the users who are using large screen for watching their content, they can be traced back to their online consumption, to their mobile screens, and so much more. This is a unique opportunity for creating that digital footprint. And last but not the least, unparalleled unique reach for premium and Gen Z user. We'll hear about some terms like cord cutters and cord nevers later in the part of the presentation. It basically addresses people who are absolutely new. We're talking about Gen Z user. We're talking about extremely premium audiences. Premium, why? Because they are watching their content on smart TV. They are an internet-friendly audience. They understand the accessibility of internet and usage of it. They have pretty much cut off from DTH. They are premium audiences. Gen Z, young audiences, buying affordable smart TVs, going for internet connections, easily making it accessible for them, and spending a large part of their time on viewing their best television channels, or I would say app on-demand television programs that they like. Let's look at the smart TV growth on the rise in India, and that's playing a key factor in the growth of CTVs in India as well. India from 19 to 20 has actually, the Indian market growth has been around 15%, and it's poised to grow at around a 16.52 average till 2025, as per a recent report. And what's been interesting to see is smart TVs are no longer dominated by a certain few names which are large in the market. It's no longer, if you need to have a smart TV, you need to have an LG or a Samsung or a Sony. If you see from 18 to 19 and 19 to 20 as well in some of the data that we saw, Xiaomi has been capturing a large part of the market share. The advent of multiple Chinese manufacturers has actually led that market to become much, much larger, much, much accessible, and much, much, much more affordable. Xiaomi has actually led the smart TV market in India, followed by other major players like Samsung, Sony, and all of these players have also, whether small or large, they've all seen incremental growth in a large part of 2020 while we were in the lockdown. One of the interesting factual observations that we also had, Realme has actually also observed in the latter half of 2020 to 2021 as one of the key hidden giants in the smart TV market. Another reason for CTV growth in India, the decrease in price of data plans and increase in internet subscribers, leading to the exponential growth of subscriber base in India. India is poised to have 974 million internet users by 2025. As we stand today in a 1.3 billion population ecosystem, we are the second largest internet consuming country in the world. We are only second to China. The more interesting part about this fact is the India internet penetration is actually near about 40%, which talks about the huge potential that needs to be still captured, an opportunity for users to look at, that there's a large market which is which is still untouched, and for the internet subscribers to grow on. Interesting second fact, the digital revolution, as we call it, the internet revolution in the country led by some of the top telco providers, has really made India offer the cheapest mobile data at close to 9 cents per GB at a 65% decrease in price compared to any country's average cost in 2019. We have the cheapest, probably the cheapest data accessibility across the world, and we have a large base of internet subscribers that are going to grow. It's only going to propel the growth of CTV. Interestingly, India's total TV consumption grew by 37% to cross a record 1.21 trillion minutes in India last year. What's even more interesting? 31% growth is what was absorbed for CTV viewing last year. While globally we had an 81% trend, India is also growing in double digits at a very, very gradual pace. Now, the interesting fact, increase in CTV consumption, 21% of CTV viewing households were cord cutters. Now, who are cord cutters? Cord cutters are households who cut the cord within the past 5 years. Cord cutters who cut the cord. Simple to understand, people who had cable subscriptions or DTH subscriptions and decided to unsubscribe, or probably tell their cable operators that they wish to discontinue their cable connections from a subsequent month and move completely to a smart TV or a CTV and use internet for viewing their consumption altogether. 22% were cord nevers. Now, who are cord nevers? Households with no cable satellite subscription in past 5 years. Now, interestingly, this is a very interesting segment because technically the segment is supposed to add to the overall DTH base of incrementality. But these guys are actually not even going that side. These guys are straight away jumping onto the bandwagon on the CTV ecosystem and straight away referring and preferring to look at their channels and their on-demand television via a connected TV. So that was section 1, and section 1 talked a lot about where CTV is and what's the growth channels, what the patterns are. But is it really reflecting and rubbing off on the advertising ecosystem? Let's talk about it in section 2, which is the next big thing called CTV advertising. Let's start simple. What is CTV advertising? CTV advertising is a form of digital advertising which implies serving ads specifically on connected TVs. Now, is connected TV considered as addressable TV? It's good to address this point because between a linear TV until the time we reached the connected TV ecosystem, there was a bridge and there was a small station called addressable TV, which still continues to exist. But it's also important to understand the clear differentiation. Addressable TV generally refers to the ability to show ads to different viewers during a broadcast on traditional TV powered by internet. Now, the clear differentiators between addressable TV advertising and connected TV advertising, it obviously relies on broadcast, while connected TV advertising relies on served while streaming. Addressable TV advertising gives incomplete analytics. The most advantageous part of CTV advertising is in-depth analytics, and addressable TV limits its level of targeting that it can do, while connected TV can actually have one-on-one precision targeting, with addressable TV doing one-to-many with the same advertising thought process. Clear differentiator. CTV advertising benefits are broadly circled around 6 key core areas. They target highly engaged consumers. Now, when we say highly engaged consumers, these are consumers which predominantly understand what they want to see. They have a preferential choice of what they like seeing. And when they sit in front of their large TV sets, they know exactly how they want to engage with the time spent on their television, which makes them highly engaged consumer and an absolutely core target for when you're looking at targeting highly efficient users who will engage and look at your ad when you do advertising. Reduced ad spend wastage. That's a pretty simple one to understand. No longer traditional TV advertising of serving an ad to fix a spot, predominantly determining whether you should be prime time, but that ad goes to so many people. Is it specific to channels? Is it specific to a certain genre? All this can be reduced by CTV advertising, where you can create an interesting footprint of the user, what kind of channels is the user saying, what kind of areas that you want to target, etc. You can have a lot of precision in target and reduce your ad spend wastage completely. Easy reach on global CTV market. No longer are you bound by the geographical limitations of television. If you want to target a certain user across the borders, as long as the user and they have inventory which can be accessible on CTV in that particular area, you can absolutely sit in the same geography and target any number of users across their connected TV ecosystems across the globe. A huge benefit which CTV brings to the table. High quality ad units. We're talking about smart TV here, and high quality ad units comes by default. Better attribution and tracking and frequency capping, a digital metric which was long missing. And when you talk about traditional TV advertising, completely addresses by better attribution tracking and frequency capping. Last but not the least, real-time ad buying with programmatic measurement. As we all understand, programmatic has been one of the largest growing digital trends globally, and its impact is no lesser to be seen on the connected TV advertising front. 38% of overall digital advertising spends last year were via programmatic in India. So it speaks volumes that 1/3 is the ecosystem which is moving there, and it is poised to grow at 54%. It speaks sooner or later, you will have pretty much all your advertising formats being bought by advertisers programmatically. And with connected TV, advertising, you can predominantly put all your ads via programmatic advertising. Why CTV advertising? Let's look at an interesting research report, which was done with in the US market with media decision makers in that country. 81% of advertisers and marketers are shifting from CTV to linear TV. Core reasons, as you understand, targeting and efficiency. For the longest period of time, people believed that TV advertising would not really help them get targeting and efficiency. But where we have moved today is that targeting and efficiency is really, really critical. Every media dollars counts. For every $100 I spent on your platform, I need to understand if I have reached the right person and if I have reached him with the right efficiency. CTV brings that to the forefront absolutely with its medium of CTV advertising. Incremental reach as the second criterion, as we understand, we talked about it a lot, is an absolutely unparalleled and incremental reach medium that it provides for brand marketers to reach their audiences. Opportunity to optimize creative, highly engaged creatives that you can set up, have engagement, cost-effective CPMs, proven ROI. We will talk about it a little later as well. Better consumer ad experience, and others followed as other attributes which led to why CTV advertising in terms of prioritization. In a very recent Kantar market norms survey done in US, CTV advertising actually led to a short-term brand lift as claimed by the Kantar report. Ads that run across connected streaming over the top are more easily recalled and build persuasion like online video is what was the outcome. If you look at this graph, what was clearly highlighted is when you compared multiple channels of CTV advertising versus traditional TV, online video, and non-digital view, not only did it help increase your short-term ad awareness, but it also helped users have high recall as well as purchase intent as compared to your traditional channels like TV, online video, or any other channel. So clearly it's a channel of choice, which is giving the advertisers the right two metrics when they look at advertising across any channel, which is awareness as well as intent. Very interesting slide again for everybody to read it in different ways. Now, these are video impressions by consumption as of 2020 for US. Now, if you look at this graph, there are three clear indicators. This is the year-on-year growth, which is highlighted by dark blue as well as light blue, across three key mediums of advertising, which is, let's say, desktop, CTV, and mobile. The first way of looking at this graph is if you compare the 2020 video impressions by consumption for mobile versus CTV, which is 43% that you see here versus 41%. What you understand is the share of video impressions for CTV in US is almost equivalent to the share of video impressions on mobile, which speaks volumes of where that CTV growth and where CTV exponentially is almost equaling the mobile share of video impressions in that market. And what's also interesting to realize is while in 2020, there was an year-on-year decline, as you would say, because the large part of the year saw a slump. People were really realizing how to get bounce back on the advertising front. While there were minor declines in both segments, which is desktop and mobile, CTV actually saw a growth of 23% in video impressions in 2020. Speaks volumes again. We touched about COVID and said, what happened last year? Did it have an impact? As the graph shows you clearly, absolutely not. While other markets saw a slump, CTV growth globally, and if you look at between Q1 to Q3 numbers, it grew by 70%, which is the global OTT and CTV programmatic ad spends, in fact, for 2020. Now, what was powering this growth and this incremental double-digit growth? You'll be surprised that not only the US ecosystem between LATAM and North America were powering this growth, so was APAC. In fact, APAC and LATAM were leading the charge for this growth on programmatic ad spends in 2020. Europe, while it seems the EMEA region, while it shows a little bit of a decline, which might be led by Africa, it was actually in Europe, it was one of the highest growing trends as well, dominated by UK, followed by France, Spain, and other markets where they have the dominant CTV proposition, connected TV advertising proposition in the market right now. Let's touch upon, before we move to India, one of our competitor, well, let's say one of our the leading markets on the CTV change, which is leading the CTV change globally in the West, which is US. CTV ad spending is expected to reach 14.1 billion in US by 2023. Nearly 3/4 of US households are now reachable by programmatic CTV advertising. 400 million connected TV devices in US, and 64% of TV households have 3 or more connected devices. Now, 72% of households in US are now reachable via programmatic OTT and CTV. 72%, that's almost 3/4 of that ecosystem are now reachable via programmatic CTV advertising. And what's interesting to see is, while they're absolutely reachable, there has been a growth of close to 44% between Q4 of 2019 to Q3 of 2020. Now, 44% growth on a sizable base. That's an incredibly interesting statistic, because they are not growing on a small base. They're actually growing on a very, very sizable base. And that too at 44% in terms of advertising. It speaks volume of the dominance of CTV advertising in that ecosystem. Now let's hear it from the media advertisers themselves. I picked up the source from eMarketer. Via leading media priorities, according to US Digital Media Professionals survey done in October 2020, connected TV in terms of leading media priorities stands only second to digital video and OTT as a generic phenomena, and that too barely by 3%. Which speaks volumes that in a market in terms of leading digital media priorities for all media planners or marketing folks, CTV has taken a core importance and presence in their media priorities of selection, choice, and execution in all their media plans going forward in 2021. Though we are in a growing market ecosystem, India advertising gradually is also moving towards the new age of CTV media. In a recent Nielsen report, 55% of Indians actually preferred OTT viewing versus DTH. And that's a very interesting statistic. And when you combine it with the 81% rise in CTV hours post-quarantine in India, it speaks volumes that the Indian ecosystem is realizing the potential of CTV, is a growing market for the connected TV ecosystem, is a growing market for connected TV advertising, and all media and marketers should be taking cognizance of it now. It is surely not the future trend. It is the trend now. And I think most statistics that you saw for US and India are proving you so in that direction. India is also poised to grow at 30% as per Drum in terms of growth in the next 12 months. But I'm sure with a very gradual changing market, this percentage might even go higher as we go forward in this year. The factors powering the growth of CTV in India, simply, I think we've discussed about it earlier. Increase in internet subscriber growth. India has the second highest internet subscribers in the world. Decrease in data cost. India offers the cheapest mobile data at 0.09 per GB, provides easy access and accessibility of data to the consumers. Decrease in smart TV cost. Xiaomi is the leading smart TV brand. We shared one data statistic about it, and India market at affordable prices of smart televisions is making this trend go much, much higher. There's also been an increase in consumers switching from DTH to smart TVs or internet provided TVs or just their connected TVs. And another statistic that we found is that India actually lost 2 million DTH subscribers between 19 to 20, which again talks about consumers are switching their TVs to CTV. Internet is clearly powering the growth in the Indian ecosystem for CTV. If you look at what's powering some of these points, you would look at some of these statistics which say affordability of smart TVs, ease of buying and using. Today, you can buy a smart TV. You don't have to visit a retail outlet. You can click, you can find multiple avenues online to buy a smart TV, which can be delivered to your doorstep in any part of India, whether it's tier 2, tier 3, any part of town. Accessibility and ease of buying has become a core phenomena for this rising trend. Ease of internet access and app adoption. Contrary to what many people think, India has an absolutely wonderful internet access across large parts of the country. And in fact, surprising to most people, as you know, might not know, India is the second highest app downloading country in the world. We are the second highest app downloading country in the world, which basically means we love what we watch. We want to know what we watch. We like to have preferences on a mobile. And this trend is also shifting while you make your smart TVs, your connected TVs for your preference of large screen viewing. Increases in internet subscriber growth, availability of cheap data plans, and affordability of internet connected devices and dongles, which are easily, again, as accessible as you possibly can. We talked, we touched upon multiple segments, and we hope with our attempt we were able to establish the importance of connected TV advertising. It is clearly not a future trend for marketers to think about. The trend is now. It is for you to take an action upon now. It's for you to consider it now, because it's the fastest growing trend. It is giving you the incrementality in terms of reach. It is giving you the impact in terms of your recall. And these are two mediums which CTV solves really, really well. But I think the era that we have moved on to post-COVID, and most marketers here would understand, some familiar faces, some old friends, everybody's talking about ROI, right? We have gone to a space that, hey, okay, I reached X number of people. We could influence it in so many ways. We got a great brand lift. But tell me, what was the action that he took? Is there any way to connect those dots? Could I ever find out what is the action that the user took after seeing my ad on his large screen? Welcome to our section 3, where mobile meets CTV, which is where the marketing magic happens. Welcome to the world of Mediasmart's household household sync technology with CTV, which is the section that we're going to talk about in this last 5 to 7 minutes. What is household sync? Simple words: when you target cross-screen audiences and increase brand impact by syncing ads on CTV with ads on other devices in a household. In simplistic words, if any user that saw your ad on a connected television, you can actually have the same user see the same ad or the same brand's ad on his mobile set in the same household, and which is what is called household sync technology. Basically, you can actually measure impact beyond your traditional TV advertising. For the largest period of time, we were always talking about what happens to the user who sees my ad on television. While it's the most mass form of advertising, at least still in India, as we understand, the impact of it is predominantly a lot of postmortem, where your market shares either go south or north, and then you realize what was the impact of your TV advertising. Obviously, you have various ways of measuring your TV impact and new mediums of understanding it. But what could be best if what you served on a television screen, on a large screen format, if the same ad could derive an action from a user on his mobile, wouldn't it be the best way possible? And that's what household sync does. In simplistic words, we kept talking about it increases the brand impact by syncing your ads on CTV with another connected device. How does it work? The user actually sees the ad on television. Within 10 seconds, 20 minutes, 1 hour, up to 24 hours, you can actually retarget the users within the same household, which has the connected TV, to be seeing the same ad that they saw on the connected TV on their mobile. By seeing, now what's interesting is when you see your ad on CTV, which are predominantly non-skippable formats or non-actionable formats, you have great completion rates. So anytime when you see an ad on CTV or most the rising form of OTT, which gives advertising on rolls, pre-rolls and mid-rolls, you will always have great completion rates because you saw the ad, you cannot really take an action. Obviously, you're going to have great completion rates. But imagine if the same ad is on a frequency cap and recall shown to the same user on his mobile. You will get an immediate reaction of understanding on whether he liked the ad. Did he want to see it again? Did he want to inquire about the ad again? You can actually drive an action on the user's mobile, which is the most important benefit, and the core takeaway of this session is household sync, which means while you show an ad to a user on connected TV, you can actually drive an action on his mobile. You can drive conversions. You can help him inquire more about your product. You can actually drive him to an e-commerce site. You can actually drive him to do a lead gen or form fill. And there is so much more that you can do. But at the end of it, you can actually drive an action. If a user saw your ad on television and had 85% completion rate, if he actually saw the same ad on mobile and had a very poor click-through, or didn't want to see the ad because he closed it, you had poor completion rate. It just gives you intent understanding, which is a great learning in today's world and form. And I think a large part of the ecosystem is dependent today on brand lift surveys, which is the most obvious way of measuring an uplift when you try a new medium. But at the end of the day, brand lift service does give you an intent understanding as well, which is very probabilistic over a large database concluded into a very small data set, which gives you an understanding. What could be better? For every ad impression that you served on CTV, you could understand what was the reaction and intent of the user on his mobile. Couldn't ask for a better brand lift understanding than that. And this is exactly what Household Sync does for your brand and for your brand ads. Now, how does it work? Let's get technical. We will automatically validate IP as a part of the household. We will retarget the IPs from household equipped with CTV. The targeted audience with the same IP will be exposed with ads in their mobile device across multiple applications. You can show the users ad in 30 seconds, 5 minutes, 1 hour. You could do multiple actions of the ad on his mobile and basically amplify his experience. And what you can do with the household sync technology of Mediasmart, you can not only serve impressions, but you can measure over 26 metrics with 35 filters that you can apply while using this technology via our platform. It's very critical to understand how this technology works. In a layman term, IP address is how you understand a user's ecosystem. You can understand if your CTV is connected via a certain Wi-Fi router, the users on the same Wi-Fi router can be retargeted with the same ad. Or even if you want to say you want to drive an action, don't show him the same ad. Maybe show him a different format of an ad. Maybe do a banner ad on his mobile television if you want to drive click through. What this will give you is an understanding and intent of what the user actually reacted when he saw your ad on the large screen and what he saw your ad when he saw it on a smaller screen. While CTV is now and CTV is real, we are also having some new interesting developments which are going in future. CTV in India is still fairly a growing market. And what we are planning to do for future is obviously have better definitions and of tracking and attribution, make it more definitive, make it more digitally inclined, layer multiple layers of understanding of that audience cohort. Measure drive to store from a smart TV campaign. Imagine if you show a user an ad of a Big Bazaar with Shah Rukh Khan in it, and he eventually can also understand after seeing that ad of Shah Rukh Khan, doing something, and you actually sending him to another retail store. So I think that couldn't be a better outcome of that. Different household definitions per country. Obviously, understanding, building layers of intelligence, finding the digital footprint of the user, combining it with our own audience DMP. The Apple's DMP has close to 500 million plus devices, and attributable understanding cohorts are across multiple behavioral, intent, apographic understanding. You could build so much of understanding in terms of household definitions per country. And last but not the least, as the CTV ecosystem grows, automated targeting across device manufacturer and models. As this ecosystem grows, I think there will become a clear division of what kind of smart TV, what kind of manufacturer, and I'm sure that those are easily accessible mediums for the very near future. The clear benefits of using CTV and Mediasmart. Premium inventory, 100% transparent. We are a 100% transparent platform. We believe it's in our DNA to have that, and we have very access to very premium inventory. Clear differentiator, household sync solution. I think we talked about it in detail in this section. We can retarget users that saw your ad on TV on any other device in the same household. It's a clear distinction that no other player in the market currently holds. It gives us a clear distinction in terms of technology and in terms of creating that synergy of what brand campaign should ideally impact in as an end derivative. Cross-screen audiences, find the mobile user you have identified on the TV, better attribution, tracking and frequency capping. And last but not the least, best market CPMs, which is an important criteria, and reduced ad spends wastage. A quick overview of what that ecosystem looks like on the Mediasmart platform. We have close to 6 to 7 million CTV ecosystem in the place. And if you combine that with our household technology, we reach close to 20 million users on a single cohort. And when you combine that in terms of with our own DMP intelligence, we can reach a sizable audience size. We are integrated with all the top SSPs, whether it's Google, Rubicon, Smart, Brave, Xandr, Freewheel, OpenX. And we have a lot of the best of the market deals, PMP deals with some of the top publishers in the ecosystem. We talked a lot about CTV and household sync. So like I said, the technology is not for future, the technology is now. Let's look at an example of one of the most premium brands in the OEM space, working their way around this technology, working alongside Mediasmart, and how they launched one of their most successful smartphones last year.
In October of 2020, Apple launched the iPhone 12 and iPhone mini in India with 5G, the fastest A14 Bionic chip, the smallest 5G phone, and more premium features. This was one of the most awaited launches in India. So how do you drive attention for a cutting-edge product? You leverage the latest technology to change the game and completely transform the advertising experience. And that's where Apple leveraged Mediasmart's technology to drive higher awareness and consideration. As consumers spent more time at home, Mediasmart's industry-first household sync with cross-screen audience completely transformed the storytelling for premium audiences of Apple. Mediasmart's tech was fundamental in identifying and reaching those audiences on premium open RTB and PMP deals across OTT, entertainment, or even gaming apps being consumed on connected TV and mobile. After showing ads on TV, Mediasmart's industry-first technology retargeted users on their mobile devices, nudging them to take an action. This industry-first move of transforming non-interactive linear TV advertising into more measurable and interactive connected TV advertising completely transformed the brand consumer engagement metrics. With over 3.9 million impressions and a massive video completion rate of 85%, the omni-channel experience delivered over 62,000 visits to the online stores to place the orders. Mediasmart's connected TV advertising with household sync completely transformed the advertising experience for premium consumers of Apple, delivering record-breaking results. Campaigns soon translated into phenomenal results as Apple received record pre-orders and became the most sold 5G phone in India within 2 weeks of launch.
Yeah, so that's the first glimpse of the case study with two very interesting brands, the India iStore and Mediasmart, transforming consumer experience as a technology. And I think for all the viewers of this webinar, one key takeaway that you should take away from this slide, or I would say the case study, is while the asset of the ad format was video, and when the asset is the video format, what do you look at most probabilistically is completion rates. Now, while this campaign had a great completion rate, and that would have been the end of it, I don't think it would have served the purpose of really driving conversions or really driving intent to buy the iPhone. Now, what Mediasmart's household sync could tell, and in fact could bring to the table for an interesting brand like Apple and India iStore, is that while it drove phenomenal 85% completions on the CTV, it also drove 2.31 CTRs on his mobile handset. Now, on an average, what I understand is 2.31 CTRs are predominantly 2x of what an average industry benchmark would be. Now, imagine a user has seen the same ad on television and he came back when the same ad was shown to him on his mobile screen. He still loved it. He still clicked on it. And in fact, he had a great click-through rate to do that. And it couldn't have been a better campaign and a better intent and a better understanding and eventually a better outcome for Apple to do this campaign with Mediasmart. We're going to end the session now, guys, with some key takeaways for how CTV and household sync, the last part of the section. It is clearly the fastest growing channel for programmatic ads. Your unskippable ads can reach up to 95% of video view rate. You can easily identify the digital footprint of your TV user, which was till now quite impossible via omnichannel targeting and user attribution. You can build consideration funnels into deriving purchase intent via your large screen TV format advertising. You can reach an unparalleled audience reach and access via the premium audience ecosystem that CTV offers you. Viewers are obviously, anytime you put your ads on CTV and Household Sync, your viewers are engaged in immersive watching experience, and the world is moving towards immersive watching experiences. Today, you can no longer shove down 20 seconders and 6 seconders down the consumer's throat. So I think this is an interesting space to be. You can reach multi-screen for reach your users at the same household. Super important on recall, connecting your connected devices. And last but not the least, reach out to users who have stopped using their cable and satellite services. Become the new age gen and become the new age advertisers. With this, I conclude our today's webinar. I hope I have done it on time. Thank you all for being such nice audiences. I think I saw good numbers at one point of time. So thank you so much, everyone. Adriana, back to you.
Thank you, Nikhil. That was great. Have some water. So now we can start with, we have less than 10 minutes left, but let's start with some questions. There have been a few interesting ones during the session. So I've picked a couple for you. So let me know you're ready, but here they go. Let's see. There's one that says, we already advertise on OTTs. Why should we invest in connected TV separately?
Yeah, well, what tells me I saw this question coming? I think there's some interesting media folks, and I think it's fair to ask this question. And I think OTT has been the growing channel of spends, not just in India, across the globe. I'm sure, Adriana, you will agree with me from a Europe lens as well, global lens. But I think what's interesting to understand is in OTT, while it gives you certain preference and certain scope of reach, what CTV and Household Sync gives you is very different. One, you're doing OTT advertising via individual channels. I'm assuming individual apps, you have separate deals, you're dealing with multiple publishers. Via CTV advertising and Household Sync, you are not dealing with individual publishers. Your ads are spread across the programmatic ecosystem. All your ads are spread across multiple publishers on the CTV ecosystem. Really, really critical. You're not dealing with individual publishers. Two, what you get on Mediasmart is Household Sync technology, which we just talked about in our last section, which basically talks to you about reaching the audiences, not just via your large screen TV format, but driving the message with this mobile phone, driving an intent. Now you've seen your ad on OTT, great. What's next? So you got 85% completion rates, 90% completion rates on OTTs, great. So what's next? I'll tell you what's next. What's next is Household Sync technology, which basically tells you, yes, he saw your ad and he really liked your OTT, and maybe he's going to buy your product via his mobile, or he's going to subscribe to your channel also. So I think this is what differentiates us very, very clearly vis-a-vis that advertising channel. I think, and plus, but last but not the least, I shouldn't miss it. The metrics of success, the metrics of success, the incrementality that you get in terms of reach on a very, very different medium, right? The CTV user is not the same user. He might be the same user as the OTT, but that reach is very unparalleled. That's the large screen audience reach, which you need to understand. On top of that, you have multiple metrics on digital front that you get to understand on our channel. So yes, you should be, in fact, looking at OTT, but I think more and beyond, I want to not compete with them. In fact, I want to complement them and add an incremental channel for your ad spends. I hope that answered your question. Yeah.
I think you gave it enough. So there's another one here. I think it's very interesting because it's going to depend, like the answer depends, but how much do I have to spend to run an effective connected TV campaign?
Well, I think, you can please be my guest and spend all your media plans on this channel, but I think there isn't, no, I think I understand where this question is coming from. And I think as you understand that there is no prefixed budget, I understand where the question is coming from. Sometimes most channels that bring you certain new technology also ask you for a basic commitment spends. We do not follow that model. As you understand, I think a couple of questions here are also talking about what is the CTV household reach in India. The CTV household reach in India, Avika, and another person who's asked this question is quite minimalistic right now. We're talking about 6 to 7 million households via CTV. And when you combine that with households and technology, it reaches close to 18 million, 19 million users that you can reach at one point of time. So it's not a very sizable reach. And with that, I think you can drive at a minimal cost basics of running a campaign with minimum of $10,000, $5,000 and experiment. But what we would suggest is run your campaign for a certain duration. Look at your campaign very interestingly in terms of narrative, in terms of creatives, in terms of what you need to drive with household sync. Evaluate the campaign success metric, not only what happened on CTV, but also what happened on mobile. And I think these multiple ways can help you drive your campaign. Think more objective than budgets. But yeah, we are open to, we don't have a minimal budget threshold for doing this.
Yeah, and that's one of our differentiators also. There's a couple of questions here asking, how is our solution different from other competitors? So taking, that answer, not only what we already portrayed in the presentation with easily target, cross-screen, household sync, tracking and measurement, real-time buying and metrics, but, also available to advertisers for any budget, right? So, yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I think Adriana, I think that's really nice you added that because it's important to understand that I think what differentiates us from other players in the market is clearly the technology piece, right? I mean, and that's the same reason and answer I can give you for OTT. I mean, OTT is an over-the-top application ecosystem, and CTV is a channel or a medium for advertising. And I think it's very clear to understand the differentiation that on CTV, maybe you would see and hear about in the next 3 months is that gaming is becoming a big trend on the connected TV. People are actually playing. By the way, apart from entertainment, gaming is the second most or third most used form of application on the Amazon Fire Stick. What stops you from, if the user is there, why shouldn't your ads be there? And I think that's the way you should be looking at the CTV ecosystem. Yeah.
There's so many questions. I'm just going through them to see if we can answer a quick one. There's just one very easy one that they're asking, what type of creative formats can we use? If you want, I can answer that because it's the easiest one.
It's right up your alley.
Yeah, most of them are high definition video, obviously, but there's also display and native formats to go in connected TV campaign. So that was very easy. Of course, if it's time to wrap up, so we don't have that much time to cover all questions.
There's one thing, Adriana, I think Bhavna has asked a question, which what's the size of CTV inventory? I think that's answered. CTV inventory is household level. So how can you get target individual as per brand TG? It's the same metric that you apply, Bhavna, on using your digital mobile marketing campaigns, that if you start with targeting the connected TV users, you have a sync on household technology. That's how you build audiences. You can build a layer of intelligence on top of your campaigns. You can keep building that layer of intelligence over campaign after campaign. You'll get a very clear understanding with our DMP and intelligence and third-party data partnerships, a very clear understanding of that. To retarget the user with household sync, you need to have a device of the same brand? No, not at all. The technology enables you to just target any connected device which is in that household, and you can retarget the user. Sorry, Adriana, I went.
No. I mean, I'm just glad. I just didn't want it to make it too long. So there's so many questions popping up as we speak. So I think it's, again, time to wrap it up, but no worries, because these questions will be answered. We'll just reach out to you and we'll start other conversations there. Thank you all for being here. We hope you've enjoyed this webinar as much as we did. See you next time.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Adriana. Bye-bye.
Bye.